Hello, my name is Bradley and I'm your host of The Internal Game. So today I want to talk about the importance of presence, right? I know it can kind of trip us up because we're like, no, I want to be thinking about my person. I want to be thinking about the money. I want to be thinking about all this stuff, right? Well, hear me out. I'm a big fan of Neville Goddard and I'm a big fan of Eckhart Tolle. Neville talks about when you get a desire, claim it as done. When you give it to yourself internally, like you don't have to ask anyone's permission, and whatever you give yourself first, that life makes no mistake and always gives man which man first gives himself, kind of thing, right? And you just kind of go about your day. And he also says that you already are what you desire to be, and your refusal to believe this is the reason that it's not so. Eckhart Tolle, he talks about the importance of the present moment and to not identify with mind, because you are not your mind, right? So when you have one person like Neville Goddard saying, hey, you are God, right? We only think about that with, like, if we're thinking about that with the mind and not really know what that is, then again, it's just mind stuff. It's just honestly, an identity of saying that we're God when we don't really know what that means. And Eckhart Tolle talks about, like, we are God the same way that the sun ray is the sun, right? Or the universe experiencing itself as a human being for a little while, right? With our own little focal point that we're creating from by what's in our state of consciousness. I'm pretty sure both teachers can agree on this, right? But I like the sweet spot with Neville and Eckhart, right? I like to say, okay, this is what I desire. I claim it. Now I intend to live there, right? And my job is to not doubt it. Why would I doubt it? It would be an identification, me identifying with a thought that is opposite of my desire. Right? But if I practice presence, which I do, and I practice, oh, that's just a thought, like Eckhart talks about not identifying with mind because we are not our mind, then I actually get to get in touch with this God being that I am, even though we're all God, but like this feeling of this God self that I actually am, because I'm not so caught up in the mind, right? And with that being said, I am now living in the end, in the present moment, in a whole state, with desire in mind as it's done. Because the only reason I wouldn't be seeing something is because I'm having doubts, right? Or living in a state of fear, which is living in the end, just not the end that I prefer, right? So the sweet spot is claiming the desire and then being present. Because once you say it's done, it's done. And let me tell you something. I have obsessed over manifesting things before, especially that one time that me and my wife were split up and I was like affirming like a banshee, like she loves me, 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 she loves me. That's all I could do. Thinking that was like the end. Like, oh, well, that's the end state. She loves me, right? Well, guess what? I love my wife every day. Every day. Not one time do I feel the need to say that. We actually have things that we do that are like normal day-to-day life because that's the end. Like when you think about your person, you want your person, or you think about your the money, what have you. The present moment is the state of the end. I promise you. Because if you think that it's happiness, that's fleeting. Like, yeah, you may be excited for a little while when you first get your person or the money or the new job, the promotion, all these things, but it goes, right? And then you have like day-to-day stuff that you have to do in the present moment, right? That's one part of it. And also, the present moment is the end state because it is not illusion. Like, you will only recognize your wholeness and feel your wholeness right here, right now, in the present moment. If there's an experience to be had, it's to be had internally, right here, right now. Because if not, and we're identified with mind, right? Thinking that like, oh, I need this desire to be happy and I'm going to obsess over this person. I'm going to obsess over this promotion. I'm going to obsess over something because it's going to make me happy. And because I'm not happy right now. And I don't feel complete right now. So it must be that. And you obsess over it. Then all this reflected back is your incompleteness. That's what you're going to get. That's not the end. Right? And really it's an illusion to think that something's going to make you happy or complete you. And to realize that you are complete already in the present moment and to not obsess over things because you're already feeling the fulfillment, the wholeness, the love within right here, right now, and able to enjoy your day, look around and say, okay, this is the fullness of life. This is the kingdom of God. the eternal present moment, the eternal now. And then from this place of wholeness, say, oh, I want to experience this. Now it's done. And then to continue to go about your day, to live your life, is living in the end of the most full, whole place you can possibly be, literally. Because of course you're going to feel complete if you're identified with the mind, because it's never happy, it's never satisfied. It thinks that it needs something to be happy. If you're identified with mind, you're buying into something that is not you. You are not your mind. And you're not going to recognize that God, whole, the I amness within you, right? But when you get out of mind, oh, that's just a thought. Oh, hey, I can enjoy my day. I'm going to focus right here, right now. Then you can use your mind actually instead of your mind use you, and you can start calling some shots and say, hey, okay, well, I'm pretty whole and pretty complete right now because I want for nothing, because I'm just right here. I'm in my body. I'm looking around. Now I want to experience this. So from here, I'm going to tell a little story or just think about it and say that it's done. This is like an I am calling the shot. This is the God consciousness calling the shot. Because you're not wrapped up in mind. The one thing that's putting you in a fearful state, the one thing that's making you doubt, is when you're believing the mind, the thoughts. And again, like I've talked about many times, it's not the thoughts that you get, it's the thoughts that you entertain, it's the thoughts that you believe that are really, really throwing you off. So technically, it is as easy as saying it and claiming it right now. The only reason that we're not seeing these things is because our refusal to believe them. Well, that's because we are believing the opposite from thought. And if we realize that we're not our mind, we don't have to believe every thought that we get. Why would we? If we know we're not our mind, we do not have to believe every thought that we get. Like Edgar says, what a liberation to realize that you're not your mind. Because I don't know about you guys, but I walked around, every thought that I got was important. Every thought that I got was what had to be dissected. And the next thing you know, I was thinking about this, and this is true, this, oh my God. Fearful states all kicked in. Now I'm seeing the world through the fearful lens, creating little fearful meanings about things, and then just watching things just completely take shape like that. But when you realize that you're not your mind, you get present and you say, wow, I actually don't really want for anything here, because I say I want safety, right? I'm saying that I want these things because I'm going to be safe and happy and fulfilled and chosen once I get these said things. It's illusion. If it's an experience to be had, it's to be had now. And there's only ever now, because that's the reflection that we're getting. So if we decide to live in the present moment, which is easy to do when you realize that you're not your mind, you say, okay, I actually can enjoy my life now. I don't need to obsess over something in this future perceived moment, because there is no future, there's only now. And if I'm only ever getting a reflection of what I'm being now, might as well be present, might as well be happy now, might as well be calm now, peace now, all these things that I think that I want. I can do them right now by stopping obsessing, believing my thoughts and my mind, and just kind of get present, live my day, hang out with my wife, hang out with the dogs, swim, work, what have you, but like just making a day of it, right? Without identifying with every thought that comes my way. Then to do that will be to call forth to get another reflection. One of wholeness, one of stability. And the now. Because that's all that exists. So when we give up this idea that like the happiness and our peace and all these things are in some perceived future moment, that doesn't exist. There is no past, there's no future. They don't exist, only in the mind. And if we realize that we're not our mind, we can go ahead and just be happy and peaceful and all these things now. And then when we do that, the people, the money, all these things start to reflect that in the now, because that's all that exists. And the only reason that we saw any type of circumstances before that were not in our favor is because we weren't being in our favor in the now. And then we continue to do that. So when we get our energy lodged out of the mind, we start to wake up a little bit, start to be able to appreciate stuff as around us, start to appreciate ourselves. And then we can say, oh, I'm pretty whole and pretty full and pretty complete right now. Because why would I not be? Because I'm not focused on all these things that I think that I need in this future moment, which would of course make me feel incomplete, because I'm saying that my completeness is over there. And then it keeps feeling that way because our incompleteness is being reflected back in the now, just like Neville says, the loveless never find love. That's pretty much what he's saying. If you're looking for love, that's going to be reflected back, looking for it. If you are incomplete within, looking for your completeness, what's going to be reflected back is your incompleteness. And then from this calm, stable state of knowing that like everything's fine just as it is right now and I'm safe, all is well. No need to want the safety because I have it. No need to want the fullness because I feel it right now. Then it starts to be reflected in the external world because it's one big game of reflection. So that's why it's the sweet spot between the desire and the now. All right, that's all I got, and I will see you guys soon.